Okay, so right now it's actually starting to look like I've certainly broken the thing. I'm good at breaking it. Getting it back together always takes longer. I'm trying to figure out where and what cabling I have and what I'm going to have to buy. Let's walk out here for a second. Don't mind the grossness, but see, I've got all those, but those are XLR to XLR. I want to put this rack of preamps. I'm thinking I would rather have them. Originally, I was going to put them on XLR, even though there's a lot of extra cable here. I was going to mount them back there, so this could just be disconnected and roll as one little nice clean unit. Problem with that is there's not enough room to squeeze all the cabling back in there. I'm thinking I'm going to do the XLR out of the thing into the TRS, and then I can just plug directly into the patch bay with the TRS. So if I want to, for instance, if I want to like hit, let's go here for a minute and pretend this is coming from a mic preamp out. We'll just plug her right in there. Doink. Anyway, if you know how patch bays works. What, you don't know how patch bays work? There's a million videos on patch bays. Maybe I should do my own. Unfortunately, that's what YouTube is like endlessly making the same video over and over again. I certainly own enough patch cables to be qualified to do a video about patch bays, don't I? Spend some time with that. You have any idea how much money that is? How much time it took? It always starts out looking great, and then you realize I'm only got 22% of the wiring done, and eventually it turns into this. If you go anywhere where people are actually discussing analog gear, somebody's always going to chime in and remind you that don't forget to budget for cables. And I mean, these are all cheap cables. There's very few what anybody would consider high-end. These are like Seismic and HOSA and Monoprice, and you know. And it has been my experience that for the most part, there's not enough of a sonic difference. If you try and you really work at it, you can hear differences in cable, but really the differences in the price and the cost of cable is a lot about, now this is durable, this is heavy duty, but when this dies, you're fucked, right? These are replaceable, but they're a proprietary Seismic thing, and they're actually pretty cheap. They look heavier than they are, but they're kind of in a way better. I'm going to say better than the HOSA, but you know, let me see if there's any good ones in there. These are the Planet Waves. Somewhere in there's a Planet Waves little snake, and these are nice and feel good, but it's $100 for an 8-end adapter, that's a lot of money. I almost killed myself. Okay, so on the subject of HOSA cables, listen, they've always been a cable that I could afford, so I've purchased a ton in my life, but I have to say, these DB25 ones, I'll never buy another HOSA version of this again. I won't. This is so stupid. These screws are impossible to turn, and they just suck. I mean, let's look at, like, understand that this Planet Waves is a more premium product or whatever, but, I mean, whatever. You cannot possibly be HOSA and not be able to afford to put something that's this, like, a nice big plastic end on it that you can't turn. It's bullshit. It's absolute stupidity, and come on, HOSA. You got to do better than that, because, you know, I get it, you're cheap, but you can be better. If it wasn't such a pain in the ass to screw and unscrew these things, it seems like on purpose. I'm taking it personally, HOSA. I'm taking it personally. The recliner comes into play. And fucking kickback label. I did decide there's going to be XLR outputs, XLR inputs. So that box, which is 28 preamps, can be completely disconnected and rolled, and the only cable that sticks out is the power cable. and then we'll just use snakes to plug in and whatever. But that way, I just think it's very flexible. So if I decide I want to roll it into the live room by the drums, I can just slide it in there and hook it back up. There it is. It is, spin it around here. It's that behemoth. So it will eventually, it is 28 channels of mic preamp. And they just, all the ins and outs are on back. So it's just one big cube. One big cube. Pretty exciting. Can't wait to use it. So this desk, I wish I had built it a tiny bit wider, because I would like to make the crest, which I intend to use as kind of like a central patch bay slash, like, I don't know, sort of heart of the studio. I would love it to be in front of me, or at least in the spot between the speakers where I could really make some EQ decisions. I could extend it far enough so that I could fit my crest and all of this stuff, which I expect to have. I wish I could get rid of this and go to just like the console. It just doesn't have the transport, like the save and the undo. Like, nobody makes that the way I want it, and that's why I still have 3 expensive controllers. I am so getting sidetracked. It's called ADHD, people. But so yeah, I think that's my plan.